So let me use the time to thank PayPal, not only for the beer, but also for the money for developing that product. Because I was working at PayPal until March of last year, and I got some compensation from them, and I put it into that product. So I know that we are not allowed to talk about business models, but let's assume you have a great business model and you want to monetize it, and you want to take payments recurringly, or one time, and you might go to, let's say, Stripe to get paid for credit cards, but you also want to accept direct debit. Lastschriftverfahren, one of the most important payment methods in Germany. So let's say you want to accept those, and you need a way to implement it into your checkout. And we are a API payment API. You can implement our API, and we are going to communicate with your bank and doing lots of things behind the scenes. So what I want to show you now is how the API works with an example. And if we have enough time of this 5 minutes, I want to show you how that feels like if you're a consumer. So what you do is you send from your, this is our API description, and we just have to, this is an example. And we just have to change the number and then do nothing else. Before we want to send this request with this payment request, we want to make sure that we get informed about the status of the payment. We do this by inserting a webhook. Well, let's just get a webhook, create, that's difficult to see. So I just copy this one, and I go to our merchant panel, and in the merchant panel you can enter a webhook. That's what we do. We don't do it for live mode, but for testing mode here. We create the webhook. You can see it's well and working status. And now we go back to our API description and call the resource, so send the API request. So you can see we have the money we want to collect. Let's say this is a little bit too much, we take a little bit less. Here we can input a BIC or an IBAN. Well, BIC, I think BIC is not necessary, so we do IBAN only. But you can also just give us whatever you have. So if you have a German account number and a bank sorting code, you can give us that. We're going to transfer to convert it. And now we are calling the resource. So we're sending a request. Let's say what we get back from our engine. So this is the request, and yeah, so well done, it's through, and we get some information back. And now we want to see, so now we send the request to your bank, and we are going to collect, or your bank is going to collect the direct debit from your client. So this is, and now let's see if we have a status change on the, yes, and now you can see, well, to be honest, I cannot see anything here. You can? All right. So you can see the status has changed to transferred, and now your database knows that the money is transferred to, or the request, payment request is transferred to your bank, and now we are going to update this with this webhook, whatever changes in the future. So if we have the money collected on your account, or we have a chargeback, or anything else, we're going to inform you with this webhook. Now you might ask, how does that look like for the consumer? So if you're, let's say we're lucky and Zalando decides in the next coming months to implement us. So at Zalando, usually they know already my name, and well, I have to be honest. I was born in Athens, Greece, so I have a Greek account number, and let's say I'm going to enter this account number, and now, oh yes, so now when I enter it and it's correct, entered correctly on the fly, I get the feedback by the green color. Well, this is something which is done with a JavaScript, so this is not a redirect or anything. We are just an API company. So, and now my account is at Alpha Bank, and I have to authorize Zalando in this case to collect my money, and if I want to be remembered by SEPAone, well, from data privacy point of view, that could be better. I can now pay €20 to Zalando. So that's my presentation. I hope it's, well, 4.5 minutes. So we have some more time for your questions.
Yeah, I was wondering if you have plans to integrate another payment methods into your API, like carrier billing or...
No, we don't. We are specialized on direct debit. We love direct debit, and there are so many other who want to do that and do full service providing. So, for example, PayMill, they have a really poor direct debit integration, and so we are more talking to them to persuade them to use us as their direct debit provider. Yes.
Okay.
Well, yes, that's true. You like them, but the direct debit process is poor. Yeah, okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah, just a question. You mentioned Zalando. So you're dependent on, say, companies to use your API, to offer it. Because you're solving one of my big issues here in Berlin, because I have to wire money from Holland to Germany, and this is incredibly difficult. So I have to do it all manually, but I still have to wait if you have Primacom or something on your list.
We have, I don't know if I get your questions right, but we have clients in the Netherlands as well.
So the other way around, I want to pay here. So I want to pay my bills here.
So what we, yes, so we are helping you to collect money. We're not helping you to pay your bills.
The other way around, sorry, yeah, I got it.
So, so our client is the merchant or the payment service provider who wants to integrate us.
No, I got it, Sure.
Very clear, no questions.
I wonder whether there's any difference to any other payment provider and direct debit. Like direct debit is something, I would say from my experience, very stupid. You just say collect the money and either it works or it doesn't. So what exactly do you do better than other payment providers which offer direct debit?
So it's a very good question, and it would be very different to each of them. So the biggest one is, for example, Adyen. And so I could answer this question for Adyen, but I know so to every one of those, and I've been in the industry since a few years, is the big difference. So to Adyen, I can tell you that they don't check the IBAN on a low level. For example, the IBAN has some plausibility rules, and they do check them, but they do not check whether the bank sorting code or the account number within the IBAN makes sense. So as a merchant, you get a huge number of direct debit declines, and this is a hassle, and you don't want to have that, and we do check this on this level. So we're doing a lot behind the scenes to make your life easier, more than these payment methods. Yes.
Okay, I'll start this way. Okay. So I had two questions. One is about security, because I think like with direct debit, it's quite easy to just fetch numbers from somewhere. Like, I'm just curious to hear what your perspective on this is. And the other one is about the implementation in the shop. Are you working on something like a Stripe button that is really easy to implement, or do I need to sort of like wrangle it into my shopping system? That's the two questions. Thanks.
So the first question is about security. Security for whom? So security for the user. The user can charge back within 6 weeks without giving any reason, and within 13 months if it was a fraudulent transaction. So that gives most of the security to the payer. Security for the merchant, giving that there's a high security for the buyer, is a fraud problem, yes, and we plan to integrate a fraud system, mainly working on device fingerprint and behavior scoring. Behavior on the page of the merchant. So we are distributing, I don't know how you call it, pixels? Yeah. Yeah, pixels on, and we score the behavior then, yeah. So your second question was about, sorry, you have to help me. Implementation. So our API is so easy. You only want to, this is so easy, this API description. It's less than three pages. You don't need any help if you're a programmer. If you need more, you even don't like to have a plugin or whatever. You don't need that because it's so easy. Thank you.
You just mentioned the chargebacks. Do I have to offer any API endpoint where you are pushing me when there is a chargeback, or do I have to pull for them?
So you can pull if you like to, but I wouldn't. So for that, you have the possibility to give us this webhook, and we'll write it into your database, the status, and also the status if you decide to use us also as your collection API, we're going to send this information to your collection agency, and they are going to tell us what the status is, and we are going to write the new status through this webhook to your database. So you have everything at one point. Thank you so much.